Every Christian's heard the story of Easter. Jesus died and rose again for us. Been there, done that. Ho hum. What do we need to know to experience the horror of that day, to be shocked into realizing what actually happened, the cosmic significance of that day that we call Good Friday? Join us on this episode of The Way of Wonder as we explore an early Renaissance artist who helps us feel the horror of Good Friday.
Welcome, friends, to The Way of Wonder. It is Holy Week, and we are going to dive in once again to some beautiful art that we hope will stir your devotional life and again, build that spirituality of wonder. Father Patrick Schultz, my dear friend from Cleveland, Ohio, is here to present the work of art this week. Father Pat, this is the week of weeks.
It is. It is. This is dropping on Holy Tuesday of Holy Week.
Holy Tuesday.
I have a name for Holy Tuesday, though.
No, it's just, what is Monday? Monday is Holy Monday, Holy Tuesday, Spy Wednesday, Holy Thursday,
Spy Wednesday.
Good Friday. Yeah. Anyway, we should scratch this intro. Okay, let's start over. Go ahead. Father Pat, bring us into the deep. This is an incredible week, and there is an incredible tradition of art surrounding the events of Holy Week. Probably the subjects and events of this week are the most popular in the lives of artists for centuries of the life of the church. So,
Yeah. Well, I want to take us back today to the late Gothic, Proto-Renaissance period. You know, art historians and scholars, no one can really nail down or can say when the Renaissance began, but what's pretty darn clear is that one of the central figures who was instrumental in the bringing about a whole new vision of reality through art was Giotto.
oh yeah,
So, I've got two pieces actually from Giotto from the Arena Chapel. It was commissioned by this guy named Enrico. Hang on, what's his last name? Scrovegni. Enrico Scrovegni. This guy, he was a banker, and guilty of the sin of usury and all that stuff. That he was probably trying to buy his way into heaven by commissioning all this artwork. So,
wow.
two pieces by Giotto, Holy Week pieces. Let's pull the first one up here, Thomas. This is Giotto's Crucifixion.
Beautiful. This is on the walls of a chapel.
And maybe before you do any commentary, Bill, how about? Yeah, it's a fresco, so it's painted directly into the walls, which is into the wet plaster. So you can't remove it and put it in a museum. But let's do some zoom ins, Thomas, as we kind of scan the piece, because there's some amazing details.
One of the first things is the freshness of the color. I mean, this is 500-600 years old. It retains that vibrancy, all the color. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Wow. I love these early Renaissance pictures of crowds. There's always this, it's sort of a mass of faces and figures, and it forms like a very solid structure. It's always kind of grouped like that. And the angels, wow. And those patterns, those geometric shapes would also be painted in? The patterns around the main scene? Is that also in the fresco? It's kind of incredible.
Yeah. I think. Well, I'm not sure. I know that there's frescoes on either side of those. I think we can zoom back out, or maybe there's a wider. Yeah. So like you can see on the right, if you got the column.
Oh, you can. It's
and
kind
you
of
got
floret
the image
inside.
of Jonah being swallowed by the fish.
Wow.
Yeah. So, Bill, what strikes you besides the color and the crowds?
Yeah. I've got I always love the figure of Mary Magdalene and how she's always the one who's most intimately connected to Christ. She's almost part of the the crucifix itself. Mary Magdalene is always right there, embracing Christ's feet, and here she is doing the same. There's always an expression of tenderness on her part, and almost like this overflow of love. Like she just cannot not grasp the cross or touch the feet of Jesus. So I'm struck by her right away. And you've got sort of
there's a wildness.
Yeah, even with the hair flowing down, unkept, not covered in a robe.
Wildness to her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good wild. It's a holy wildness, right? Which I love because the Lord doesn't squash her passion. He perfects her passion. She's just as passionate, well, more so after conversion.
Yeah.
I'm struck too by, of course, the crowd on the left, our left, with the halos. There's a grouping of those caring for Christ. You got John holding Mary, and maybe one of the other Marys holding Our Lady as well. And it's almost like there's a split. There's the halos on the left, and on the right we've got the mob. I guess that's a mixed bag on the right side, to the right of the cross, but it's almost, it feels like a sheep and goats. Oh, there's somebody in there with a halo. That might be Nicodemus. Maybe.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the little bit of research that I did on this, it says that Giotto, the man who's like handing the tunic off to that person, so the person on the far right is Enrique Scrovegni.
Oh,
so
wow.
he's painted into the fresco itself as the banker. Yeah.
Interesting.
So here's what strikes me. Part of what drew me to, so maybe we can look at the second piece as well, and this we can maybe dwell on the second fresco, because I couldn't pick between these two.
Oh wow, I love this one.
This is Giotto's Lamentation, right? So the deposition.
Beautiful.
What captivated me with both of these was the angels. The way that he incorporates the angels into. Yeah, so in the crucifixion scene, like, I mean, look at these guys. These angels have, like, they're looking on with such horror. Like, all hope is lost. There is such pain in their expressions. There is such lamentation. There's, like, this fresco is called the Lamentation, and I think we immediately think that this is yes, of course, John and Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Jesus, are, of course, in this place of great suffering.
Yeah.
But I think the subject of the title is the angels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great
gone with
point.
With horror at what's happened.
They really are in all manner of the throes of, if we could say, emotions. You know, I mean, we typically talk about human emotions, but these angelic persons are feeling it, and how could they not, right? Being present and seeing both sides of the veil. Wow.
Thomas, could you flip back to the crucifixion scene so we can look at those?
Yeah, it's the same.
Here's what strikes me about this image versus the second bill, and I mean, I could be off on this, but this is like there's geometric symmetry.
There is
in the way that they are arranged in the heavens. Right? There's still a hierarchy. There's still an order.
Yeah.
It's almost as if like they're watching on in horror, but there's still like this angelic ordering, a sense of hope. But if you flip to the next scene, when the Son of Man is dead,
yeah, it's almost chaotic.
It's chaos.
Yeah. Wow.
Like the one who's just like, losing it in the center there.
Yeah. Wow. I want to go deeper. I'm going to have to look this one up and go really detailed into each of their faces. That's the thing about these images.
Such pained expressions.
Yeah, the passion. I mean, it's the passion, right? Passion Week. This is the week where there's just a roller coaster ride of response and emotion and reaction to what's happening. I mean, it's deicide, right? This is literally the most horrific thing that's ever happened in the history of the universe. And of course, we know it's also the most beatific thing that's ever happened
Yeah.
in the history of the universe. But to feel it, and this is a period, I think, artistically speaking, right, where your early Renaissance, you're starting to get artists who are capturing the pathos a little bit better. They're getting better at really painting pain and reaction and emotion. Mm.
Yeah. Well, look down at the Blessed Mother in this image. We can pan down and look at that close up of her face. I mean, it
Oh,
is,
that is beautiful.
oh, it's
Wow.
devastating.
Wow. Just thinking right now how, here's this work centuries and centuries old, and we living in such a visually stimulating, I mean, we're bombarded by what, hundreds, thousands of images every day. But at the time, this is it. You walk into a sacred space like this, and I just have a sense that people would be blown away, absorbed, standing prayerfully. Could you just imagine? Because this would have been overwhelming for them. Like, wow, look at this great work, this art, and this capturing of this moment that we're all in in Christendom, right? This is the centrality of our faith. And
Yeah.
in those days, the whole city stopped. I mean, it was
Yeah.
processionals and festivals and vigils. It was so central, and I just feel I could just see them huddling around an image like this and it being so important for them.
Yeah, I think about the average experience of the average Christian in the early Renaissance. Think about the color palette that they were exposed to in their daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Very drab, very brown, gray. Like these men and women who lived in this area where this chapel happened to be, their existence was very, agrarian. It was close to the earth. It was earthy colors.
Yeah.
And then to step into this space that is explosions of bright, vivid blues and greens, these golds, the space itself would have communicated an otherworldly world. And it's so didactic. Like the art itself is communicating this cosmic reality that what we're celebrating in these days, it affected everything, right? So like
Yeah.
the depiction
Yeah.
of the angels, it's the entire cosmos that is mourning the death of the Son of God. Just like the entire cosmos, who is it? John Chrysostom, who said that when Mary said yes, the farthest star in the universe danced for joy.
Wow.
Like when the Son of Man died, like the angels hid their face. They looked on in horror because there was nothing they could do.
Mm.
Because the Lord said to Peter, "Sheath your sword. Like I, who could command an army of angels,
Yeah.
I'm telling them to stay put." And I just think about one of the things we have to recover in the church today is this biblical worldview, which is a worldview that sees everything is charged with the glory of God. There's not this secular space and this heavenly space, but the heavenly space invades this earth
Yes.
space. And like the way that he depicts this angelic lamentation, I think is just so powerful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a worldview. It's a cosmology. It's a whole way of looking at everything that we have certainly lost, almost completely. Except in our pockets, our small pockets here and there, of our churches, it doesn't permeate life the way it used to. I pray for a new renaissance. I mean, I pray for that new springtime that John Paul always prayed for. Because it is still just as overwhelmingly important and central. As you're saying that, I'm looking at the composition. He's got, obviously it's Christ and Mary's faces so intimately pressed into each other's there in that bottom left corner. What an interesting way to compose the piece, right? And then you've got almost that
Yeah.
wall is almost like a road in my mind of like this event here is central, though it's off center, but it's going to reach and stretch out now through all of time. To me, that wall that Giotto formed in that composition is taking us up and out and saying that the rest of human history has just been affected. It's almost like you know, a Jacob's ladder taking us up and out into something more. Such a unique composition.
Yeah. And I love that he's got Mary Magdalene back again at the feet.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, she was the one who anoints the feet, bathing them
Yeah.
with her tears, wiping them,
Yeah.
drying them with her hair. At the crucifixion, she's at his feet. Here in the deposition, she's at
Wow.
his feet. Like,
Boy, that's a whole meditation there. Yeah.
yeah,
Connecting it
you
to
know,
that
how
beautiful.
lovely are the feet of those
Hmm.
who bring the good news.
Wow. And just the humility, because that would have been a servant's work to do that, to wash the feet. That she's just the model servant heart.
Yeah.
How about the figure just above Mary Magdalene there in the robe, the kind of rosy colored robe there, his arms stretched out.
Yeah.
Again, all this emotion. Wow. Gorgeous stuff. Giotto.
Yeah,
Giotto.
is that John?
Yeah, it might be, right.
Yeah.
So beautiful. Beautiful
Yeah.
choice, beautiful meditation for Holy Week, Father Pat. Thank you.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. I just I wanted to what just so struck me was again the angels, you know,
Yeah.
that the expression on their faces, that I love when the invisible is made visible, right? I mean, that's
Right.
the whole heart
Yeah.
of Christianity, that Jesus is the visible image of the invisible Father. And
Hmm.
so often in Passion Week, when we go through these stories, you know, Palm Sunday we heard the Passion narrative. On Good Friday we're going to hear the Passion narrative from John.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy for it to become flat and opaque,
Mm-hmm.
but to be reminded that this is, oh, it's so cosmic. This is when God died. Whatever can be predicated of Jesus can be predicated of God. This is the day that God died.
Mm-hmm.
God is dead there lying in the arms of Mary.
Yeah, you got to pause. You've got to pause and enter into it. I'm thinking now, as you brought the angels back in to the conversation. Here's the thing: we, as Catholics, believe that the Lord created angels, and it's, I think it's kind of proposed that the angels, of course, were created before the human person. So all of the angels would have been present at this moment, right? They can peek through the veil.
Yeah.
They were present. So our guardian angels were present. We can
That's
pray a special prayer, you know, to our angels. We should pray to our guardian angels every day, but that they were alive, they existed, and saw this from some perspective, from some presence. They were there. So we have a first-hand, you know, eyewitness, so to speak, in our guardian angels. And just to be conscious of that, maybe as we step into the celebrations and the remembrances this Holy Week, that the angelic persons that swirl and surround us personally and in church were there. And as we step into the Eucharist, we're there again. It's the same eternal moment. This is an awesome week. I hope that
So maybe
yeah, go ahead.
I was saying maybe the prayer then going forth from this is to, I love that thought that our guardian angels were there. You know, that's were you there when they crucified the Lord? Yes, they were there.
Yeah.
To ask them maybe to intercede for us, that, you know, on Good Friday, like, give me the grace, pray for me that I would have the grace to feel something of the horror you felt and the hopelessness that you felt as you watched him die.
Yeah.
Because I think the message that Jesus died and rose, it's like, oh, ho hum, I've heard that before.
Right. A million times.
But I mean, unless you feel this sorrow, you're not going to taste the joy of Easter Sunday. Like, unless you let yourself feel the utter despairing hopelessness of, he's gone, the tomb is sealed, he is dead, the news that he's alive, it's just going to be news. It's not going to be good news yet.
Right. Hmm. Well, I hope that you have you're on the other side of the altar, Father Pat. You're in the thick of the mystery and the Paschal mystery. So I hope you have an incredible, incredible immersive experience. And for myself, my family, and for anyone tuning in, same. We pray that we be intentional and make that prayer. Like, help me enter in again and feel. I mean, that's compunction of heart, right? To actually ask the Lord for the grace to feel it, to really be present and to feel it. And again, we've been saying all along in this whole series that art is a window in. Art is a bridge to these experiences. And tarry, linger a while, stay, and pray as you gaze upon beautiful images like this by this great work by Giotto. And there's so many. I mean, you can go down the rabbit hole. And we encourage you to do so this Holy Week into the great paintings of the Passion. There are so many, and they are so powerful. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you in the glory of, we know what's coming after, the resurrection. So we'll see you next week. It'll be my turn. And that's another theme. There's so many beautiful paintings on the resurrection. I already got some ideas swirling around in my head. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us on The Way of Wonder. Please like, share it with everybody, and we'll see you next week.